ठीक है 3 2 What's going on, everybody? It's me, Asad Hashim Ali, back again with another episode of Behind the Grind, the podcast where we sit with cool people who are doing cool things on a regular basis, people whose grind I admire, people whose story I admire, people who are basically challenging the status quo and whatever they're choosing to do. Today's guest is very special because I've been a big fan for many, many years. I can safely say that I have seen him all throughout my childhood, adolescence, and now young professional life. Sohail Zindani is with us, sir. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you for inviting. It's a pleasure.
I also want to take out the opportunity and say that thank you so much for always encouraging me. Every time a new snippet goes out on LinkedIn or I release a new episode, I was going through our recent LinkedIn conversation and I saw from way back to like 2019 or 2020, you had without fail said it's great to see what you're doing.
I think, the work you are doing is both generous and courageous because it comes with an offer that it might not work and still you continue to do with certain discipline. I think that's so much to learn from.
I appreciate that. I appreciate you actually noticing that there's a discipline because I keep faulting myself. Or I keep, not ridicule or whatever I'm doing to myself is that I feel I'm not consistent with it. And that's one thing that I'm trying to do this year is definitely be more consistent and more regular with it.
I think you're showing up. That's important. Problem is we want to show up with the best or perfect. And I think that's the most stupid idea. We should show up. Rest is okay.
Yeah. Okay, so I can already tell how this conversation is going to go. But normal format is that we talk about you, where you're from, what you do, and what you're noticing in your market, in your segment today. But I feel like this conversation warrants a bit of a different spin, right? But I do want to know a little bit about what is it that you're doing? How do you make a living?
बस यही करके बातें. So Asad, I've been into training for practically all my life. Started my career with AKU, Aga Khan University, accidentally in their training department. Nothing strategic about it. That was the only department that chose to give me internship. And I realized, hey, this is cool because I was not getting tired of doing that.
Yeah.
And I kept pursuing it. I formed this company, Learning Minds, back in 2007. So this is 15 years now. And I think journey has been cool. And back in 2007, when I was not so old, I think that was not a norm of our market, particularly corporate, to accept someone as a trainer in that age bracket. So the initial years were interesting, but now sahi hai, mast hai. It's good.
Great. Yeah. And this basically involves you working with businesses, with teams to kind of motivate or to build new structures or systems.
I think one of the titles that I just not enjoy is motivational speaker because I've never tried to motivate anyone. And in fact, I keep wondering why anyone would try to motivate anyone. If they are not giving them, why are you so concerned?
Yeah.
So most of my work, if I have to put it into a basket, I think most of my work goes into two corridors. One is innovation and the other one is leadership. These are two segments I work with. But yes, I work with a very wide kind of an audience. I work with quite a senior folks. And then I work with those who have no clue about what they're going to do in their lives.
Yeah.
And I think that adds so much of variety and strength to the language that one chooses. So a lot of platforms where we have met, you know the kind of audience.
Yeah.
And then there are other audiences. But I think in general, I absolutely believe in the power of learning. And ठीक है, हम इस profession में तो हमें ये idea बेचना पड़ता है, learning is cool. But I think that's what makes us human anyways. So I celebrate doing what I do and I enjoy it.
Okay. And I want to know a little bit about the early days because you mentioned that, corporates initially had this They were confused. Why? Who's this young lad coming in telling us what to do or training us with anything at all? How did you yourself like fight against that thought process?
I tried not to fight against that. I'll
You
give a
embraced
picture.
it.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. In fact, I celebrated it. So when I started, I was okay. So now when I say it here, a lot of people might not want to believe that. I'm a high order introvert, not just introvert. If nobody talks to me, I can live for without talking for another 100 years if I live on. I have no
Talking reduces the lifespan.
I have no urge to talk to anyone. But coming into this profession, I think, and that being an introvert, the first few years, I made few deliberate choices. I made choices that I'll reach out to people who are interested in getting what I have to serve instead of knocking their doors and requesting them to buy. That was not out of the fact, it was not a strategy because I was an introvert. I didn't had an alternate option, right? I would not go to parties, I would not go to conferences, I would not go and just meet you and introduce myself. I still don't have that courage, okay? But those choices that I made of being sure about what I'm doing, being clear about what I'm doing, agreeing to not being big right on day one, taking those small steps, learning from diverse sources. That's what I did for at least first 5 years, and those were difficult years. Those were years, when I was getting married. My friends were succeeding in whatever roles and capacities they were, and of course, वो every day आपको एक उसका स्ट्रेस होता है. यहाँ अब मैं जितना कूल बन जाऊँ वो अलग बात है, बट आपको उसका स्ट्रेस होता है. यू फील द प्रेशर. बट नाउ आई थिंक उस टाइम पे द चॉइसेस दैट आई मेड इज नाउ पार्ट ऑफ माई पर्सनैलिटी. आई डोंट सेल व्हाट आई डू. इफ यू नीड इट, you reach me out. My job is to, once you reach me out, my job is to give you the best of what I can. So I'm still a bad salesperson. I just can't.
Okay.
I can't.
And that's been your business development strategy.
It has been my problem solving strategy. I call it that way. And that's a word I'm obsessed about. If you don't have a problem that I can solve, why the hell would you hire me anyways? So that's how it is. So I believe, and because your show is a show that is watched by, viewed by people who either are entrepreneurs or who aspire to be an entrepreneur. If an entrepreneur is not solving a problem and not making a change happen, I just don't understand why the hell he or she is wasting his and our time. If there is no problem you're solving, what are you doing? Why are you doing? Because at the end of the day, then you'll get tired, no matter what money you make. If there is no problem you're solving and no change you're trying to bring, I assure you, you get tired. Because that's what drives you.
But I want to unpackage this a little bit. If entrepreneurship is about the problem that you're solving, right? When you set out to start off your own venture, what problem did you identify that you wanted to solve?
Okay. So when I started, of course, I saw some amazing trainers around me.
Yeah.
Who I've never been inspired from, but they were amazing.
Amazing nonetheless.
Yeah. I think, again, so a lot of listeners might think that was a rude statement. I don't get inspired by anyone, and I get inspired by everyone. I don't get inspired by someone, something specific, बस इसको follow करना है. No. But I get inspired by the work you do. I get inspired, ये हमने conversation शुरू की, उससे पहले the way your colleague was making sure all details are perfect. Amazing. Great thing for me to learn from. Yeah. So I'm inspired by him, and then I'm inspired by no one. So when I started this career, or got into this work, of course I came into the business development side of it. I was not trainer from day one. What I realized was that most conversations that happened, or most trainings that happened, they were so structured. They were all about models. They were not simple. And I think that's my forte. A lot of people know me for that. Making things simple, putting things into story, making it more relatable. And I thought, if I do that, I think that will make more music with people. And I've been doing that, and I still don't mind doing that. A lot of time people say that, hey, you make a lot of jokes, you're too non-serious. What is non-serious? We're doing this conversation. It can be an hour-long conversation. यू गेट दी एनालिटिक्स कि कितने लोगों ने पूरा कॉन्वर्जेशन बैठ के देखा, कितने लोग 4 मिनट में भाग गए. वो जो 4 मिनट में भाग गए उसके लिए वो 4 मिनट भी 2 घंटे के बराबर थे, बिकॉज दे वर नॉट एंजॉइंग द प्रोसेस.
Yeah, yeah.
And I think that was a problem I was on to solve. That is, I wanted to make learning a more enjoyable and a relatable process. And I still continue doing that. And the moment I'll feel that I'm not either able to do it or people don't need it, honestly, I'm going to quit. It's as simple as that.
Okay. All right. So I want to know a little bit about how the past few years have been for you. Right? You said that the 5 years into the business, those 5 years were the hardest, they were the most struggle. But for as far as I've known you, I've seen you to be someone who is very multifaceted and like is somehow balancing a lot of things all at the same time. I still remember the first time I spoke to you. This was about work. I was still in university, and I asked you about where I could apply for a job. And I was studying econ and finance. I was working at Cedar, and I told you this is what I'm doing over here right now, but I want something that's a little more stable. And you asked me, okay, 1 second, you make content. What type of content do you make, and how can we, figure this out? And that was literally a 5 minute conversation, but it was right after a different conversation, which was about something very different.
Yeah.
And at that moment, it hit me, it's like, 1 second, this guy right now is sitting in his car, must be going somewhere, wherever he is. But at one point, he was like, literally 5 minutes ago, he was inspiring me, motivating me, and many kids around as well, around how to serve individuals or how to do your part in society. But then is also walking off probably into a business meeting. And just that hat switching is what I admired. I don't know about these past recent, maybe like the most like 10 years back. I don't know how many years back it's been, but I want to know about how are you balancing out a lot of things all at the same time. And just for the sake of context, for those that are listening, it's not just professional. You're also serving on multiple boards, on non-profits as well. You're giving back to society too. So there's an element of philanthropy through service and knowledge. And that's what I'm struggling with.
Okay. This part of our conversation may lead to some interesting, controversial conversation, and I love it.
Awesome.
I think, Asad, this idea of doing something good should go. Should go. Asad should not do something because it's a good thing to do. Asad should do it because Asad can do it. And I think that's a liberating idea. And I think that's an idea that has always allowed me to do things without taking a lot of weight of it. Okay? So मैं इसको थोड़ा explain करता हूँ. When you do something of service, philanthropy for that. You know the conversation that you have with yourself, oh, I did something good. That is painful conversation. Trust me, it's not good. Because when you get to say to yourself you did something good, you want to appreciate yourself, celebrate yourself. But when you do something that you can do, you don't have all these feelings. मैं नेकी का काम करता ही नहीं हूँ, मेरा इंटरेस्ट ही नहीं है नेकी का काम करने में. मैं सिर्फ वो काम करता हूँ जो मैं कर सकता हूँ. और जब मैं करना शुरू करता हूँ और मुझे लगता है इसमें इसको बेहतर किया जा सकता है तो वो मैं सीखता हूँ. राइट? I never opt for any service for which I'm not excited or I don't know how to do it. Right? So I opt myself for things that, देखो this conversation, this idea in fact, कि मैं ये कह रहा हूँ, don't try to do नेक thing, don't try to do good deeds. Do things that you can do. This is liberating because you don't get tired then, because you can do. And I forgive myself if I don't do. And I say, okay, I'll bounce back. I miss out a lot of meetings. Most of them are professionals. I hardly miss out any of my service side meetings. I think I find myself more committed there. ऐसा नहीं है कि I'm not committed professionally, but at times I miss out. I forget things. That's okay. But I forgive myself for that. I think most important, Asad, why are you doing this? I don't know what money you'll be making out of it. I really doubt. You're doing it because you can do it. अभी तुम अपने दिमाग में ये भूत डाल दो ना कि मैं माशरे के अंदर Don't come up with these lousy stories. It doesn't help. आपका pressure building करता है ये. You're doing it because you can do it. Just see the magic. You'll not get tired. You'll just not get tired because you can do it. So there's no.
So what you're saying is essentially that when you think about trying to do something well, or even when you're trying to do something for others because it's a good deed, you are just adding more thoughts onto your brain.
Absolutely.
Exerting yourself with needless conversations with yourself also.
Absolutely. और ये जो नेकी करने का जो अपने आप को सेल्फ रिवॉर्डिंग मैकेनिज्म हमने बनाया हुआ है ना यार, बकवास. I think if I'm blessed with something and I'm doing it for others, कौन सी नेकी तो I created something and I give it to you. What I have created? Nothing I have created यार. Everything. This body that you carry, this body I carry यार, ये सारा हमने अर्थ से एक्वायर किया है. जाके पूरा सूद समेत दफना के चले जाएंगे. So you know this idea that I'm doing नेक for, come on यार, बकवास. I don't sign up to that. I think we should do what we can do, and the moment we do it, life is beautiful.
How and when did this thought process develop?
That I don't know. I don't know. I think a lot of my people close to me, they say that I'm too hyper. हम restaurant जाएंगे तो I'll take the lead of serving everyone dishes on. मतलब वेटर मुझसे रिक्वेस्ट कर रहा होता है, मैं कर दूं, मैं कर रहा हूँ ना, मुझे मत. अब मैं इसलिए नहीं कर रहा क्योंकि मैं अच्छा लगूं, मैं इसलिए करता हूँ बिकॉज आई लाइक डूइंग इट. राइट. सो आई परहैप्स वाज ऑलवेज लाइक दैट, शायद. बट नाउ आई कैन स्पेल इट आउट. पहले आई कुड नॉट स्पेल इट आउट. नाउ आई कैन स्पेल इट आउट एंड आई रिक्वेस्ट अदर्स. मेरी बेटी, इफ शी इज सर्विंग पानी while guests are there, I would look at her, smile, but when she comes and asks me, Papa, I did a good job because वो स्कूल में kind deeds सीख रहे थे. She said, Papa, did I do a good job? मैं कहा, what good job? अल्लाह ने 2 हाथ दिए हैं. You could raise 2 glasses. तुमने पानी पिला दिया. इसमें good job क्या है? Don't hyperinflate yourself. Because I think that keeps your sanity intact and you can do much more things. But जब आप नेकी कर लेते हो ना, फिर आप थोड़ा रेस्ट भी चाहते हो. I think that's.
But then there's also this element of like doing things for your own self-esteem, right?
Yeah.
How do you fuel that?
I don't know. Somewhere I've left behind this element of self-esteem because I think this idea, the moment we shared. The moment I accepted that my self-esteem will be determined by Asad, what a dangerous life to live in. Mm-hmm. What a dangerous life. I know people who hate me. I personally know them. I also hate them. It's okay. But if they hate me, I don't take it on myself. And I enjoy it. Because मैं ऐसा ही है, ठीक है. I've been one of the most loudmouth advocate of strengths. Even today in corporate, I think I am amongst the only few people who talk on the lines of strength. So when I say strength, I'm saying that for Asad to do and be amazing, Asad should not overcome his weaknesses. Asad should thrive on his strengths. मुझे याद है आज से काफ़ी साल पहले मैंने खरगोश और कछुए की जो स्टोरी थी, I challenged that. Why? Because I loved खरगोश. इतना अच्छा, इतना क्यूट होता है, और इस कहानी में उसको कितना गंदा किया है. वो सो गया, वो घमंडी, वो ये ओवर कॉन्फिडेंट. आई मीन 2 मिनट के लिए असद तुम क्लैरिटी लाओ. थिंक अबाउट दिस स्टोरी, हाउ स्टूपिड दिस स्टोरी वॉज. पहले तो इन दोनों का रेस बनता नहीं था, आपने रेस लगवा दिया, खरगोश को सुला दिया, कछुआ जिता दिया, और अभी बुलशिट खत्म नहीं हुआ है. नाउ मोरल ऑफ द स्टोरी, स्लो एंड स्टडी विंस द रेस. व्हाट, फास्ट एंड फ्यूरियस पता नहीं 9-10 आ गई है. पूरा दिन हम बच्चों को कहते हैं जल्दी करो जल्दी करो जल्दी करो. स्टोरी क्या सुनाते हैं? बेटा स्लो एंड स्टडी विंस. आर यू आउट ऑफ योर माइंड? रेस गलत थी. Put both of them in the right race, right? So I believe this idea of self-esteem also is a very, very, it's an imported idea. It's not my idea. क्योंकि मैं जहाँ दूसरे से, मैं एक एग्जाम्पल देता हूँ तुमको. हमने ये पॉडकास्ट किया, we enjoyed the conversation. Say, किसी ने नहीं देखा. Should it hurt you?
No.
That's the thing. Because if it hurts you, you're saying, okay, now I'm going to do what others like. Then what you're going to do? You're going to compromise on your thing.
Yeah.
your generosity will be compromised. आज क्या है सोशल मीडिया पे YouTube likes और ये पूरा गेम क्या है, यही है. You do what they want to listen. And as a result, we constantly are lowering our standards. आप ये देखें इस कॉन्वर्जेशन पे हम कहाँ जाएंगे. और चले मैं नाम लेने वाला था बट नाम नहीं लेता.
ले ले
बट यू नो नहीं उनसे फिर मुझे अलग मिलना होता है. सो बट यू नो वो कॉन्वर्जेशंस और उसके व्यूज क्या होते हैं. सो यू नो I think this idea of views and likes and shares is taking away good, generous work. And that should not happen. So I think self-esteem and all, this is very important idea. ये idea हमारा था ही नहीं. हमने import किया.
Okay, I want to challenge, I want to know more about another thought then. Did you ever follow your passion? We spoke about this before the recording in a different way. I'm now asking, and I'm trying to connect this with self-esteem and service, because you are someone who is very charged, whether you choose to accept that or not, right? You might be hyper introverted, but I'm sure you're also very introspective as well.
Yeah.
And
try to,
and any kind of practices, I'm sure, also fuel you up to go on to the next day. What you do is you do things that you like, which the world or what stoic books or, you know, Instagram toxic positivity posts will say, follow your passion, because that's where you will do what you love. That's the reason why you do what you love.
Okay.
Thoughts?
So I smiled, I laughed, because there is so much to it. 17 years now in this profession, counting from 2005. At least 14 years or 15 years, I've talked about passion. I've preached passion. I've told people how important it is to follow your heart. I've told people how you thrive on doing things that you love doing. So who I hear that few days back, I met one of my ex-colleagues. बेचारा इंजीनियरिंग पढ़ा था. फिर he met me. His life got messed. I've messed a lot of lives. Shukr alhamdulillah. A lot of doctors left their profession because of me. A lot of engineers switched their careers. A lot of graduates in business made a complete different path. So I take a lot of pride in doing that.
Yeah.
I enjoy doing that. So ये engineering करा, फिर मेरे साथ मेरे को मिला, and you know, he discovered that, man, he is passionate about this thing. मैं नाम इसलिए नहीं ले रहा. I'm not being very specific because those who are listening me can then track के मैं उसका बात कर रहा हूँ. क्योंकि अभी थोड़े दिन पहले ही conversation हुआ. तो उसने मुझे follow करते हुए और मेरी बातों को मानते हुए, he pursued his passion, and mashallah, he has done so well for himself. He went abroad, चीज़ें करके आया. He's living a wonderful life. He met few days back and met me and said, Sohail, I want to thank you for empowering me to pursue my passion. मैं कहा, that's okay, but I'm sorry, because I think now that the idea is wrong. And next 30 minutes, he told me, Sohail, my life is shattered now. It's again directionless. So I'll explain this idea. I think, and again, this can be counterintuitive and people may find it not so amusing. That's okay. I don't like amusing them anyways. I think passion is a lazy excuse. So yes, वो मुझे फिजिक्स कभी नहीं समझ आती थी स्कूल में. उसकी एक बहुत बड़ी वजह ये थी कि मिस सारी चीज़ें बताती थी. वो पेंडुलम चलेगा तो वो चलता ही रहेगा. मैं कहा जीरो ग्रेविटी में. मैं कहा होती है जीरो ग्रेविटी? नहीं, वो होती नहीं है. तो जब होती नहीं है तो क्यों टाइम वेस्ट करना इतना. तो in a world that is of zero gravity, following your passion is a wonderful idea. It's a brilliant idea. Okay? Asad gets to do what he loves doing. What a wonderful idea. It's a fantasy world, right? So I think idiots are the ones who do things which they don't enjoy. I think blessed are the ones who get to do things that they enjoy. But I think really genius are the ones who do things that are important. They may not be out of their passion, but because that's an important thing to be done. And I think we should migrate towards this idea. देखो, I think मैं क्यों कह रहा हूँ passion is a lazy excuse. Because, say for example, alt. You get to do everything that you enjoy doing. Everything. You enjoy everything.
No.
There are a lot of shit tasks.
Yeah.
But you do it, right? Why?
Because it has to be done.
It has to be done. And if you don't do it, you don't get opportunity to share your generous best to the world. Right? I've seen people finding damn excuses. जब मेरे को मेरा passion का चीज मिलेगा ना, then I'll give my best. बकवास. You give your best. You don't know what you find is of your passion. ये passion का story हमको बिका कैसे? I'll explain. Passion का idea कैसे बनता है? For example, if you were born in, say, some कैलाश वैली में तुम पैदा होते हैं, तुम्हें लगता है तुम आज ई-लर्निंग कर रहे होते और ये पॉडकास्ट और ये सारी चीज़ें तुमने सोच ली होती? शायद नहीं, क्योंकि तुम्हारा एम्बियंस अलग होता, तुम्हारा सराउंडिंग अलग होता. सो your data entry to what can be your passion would have been completely different. I still think अगर मैं किसी और मुल्क में पैदा हुआ होता, I would have pursued stand-up comedy. I love doing it. I love watching it. In fact, I get so many creative ideas for them.
Yeah.
But I was born here. There was, particularly at the time when I was starting my career, there was nothing like this. Yeah. This never struck me. Now when I see these people doing amazing work, I say, oh shit, thoda late ho gaya main. But that's okay. That's okay. I was very good with acting. Never pursued that. Why? Because उसमें कट होता है. I can't, my brain can't works with cut. वो कौन है जिसने सोहेल को कट बोला? So my brain could never process that. I can never pursue that career. So yes, all these things are leading to that thing which I just said. Pursuing passion is a lazy excuse. But the moment you realize that, hey, this is an important work. This is a work that needs to be done. What comes out is a magic. So I'll explain further. Dr. Bari of Indus Hospital, I can bet my money he's not pursuing his passion. He's not. That was being a doctor. He is doing what's important. And that's changing the world. And I think this is what we need to. This is what we need to seriously think about. Pursuing passion, you get an opportunity. MashaAllah, Mubarak, you are blessed. I chose my word very carefully. That person is an idiot who's doing what he doesn't enjoy doing. But घर की मजबूरी है, क्या करें? You're blessed if you get to do things of your passion. But I think you are an absolute genius. Absolute genius. If you do what is important, what is needed. And I'm telling you, Asad, Allah has blessed us with that capability and capacity where we don't have our top line. All other creation has their bottom line. This is how they are born. This is how they're going to die. You don't find a leopard sitting on National Geography thinking, मैं बड़ा होके क्या बनूंगा? A dam तो यही बनेगा और क्या बनेगा? It's us. It's us. But it all depends upon the ambience that we've had. And I think that's sufficient. But for me, जैसे तुमने start में बोला, when you asked me, तो मैं ये सोच रहा था कि असद को ये सब किसने बताया? But अभी I'm doing many things beyond training. In fact, training is now hardly 10% of my total attention span. Yeah. And people around me think that's the only thing I do. Yeah. But the other things I'm doing, I'm not doing out of passion. Trust me, I hate doing it. I hate doing it. But now I'm realizing the more I do it, the better I'm becoming. I'm not doing something of service. The better I'm becoming. My perspectives are growing. The way I look at things is changing. What I study, I was doing some session on fundraising. तो उसमें मैंने ऐसी बात करते करते बोल दिया, मैं कहा देखें जी, गरीब लोगों को अमीर लोग चाहिए अपनी दुनिया संवारने के लिए और अमीर लोगों को गरीब लोग चाहिए अपनी आखिरत संवारने के लिए. सो ये जो फिलैंथ्रोपी कर रहे होते हैं, कोई बड़ा काम नहीं कर रहे होते, उनको पता होता है अभी बॉस दिन पूरे हो रहे हैं, इन्वेस्ट करके जाओ. They're investing. We are all in transaction. But yeah, I think it's very important to do things that matter. Passion is a lazy excuse. extra viewership is a lazy excuse. Anyone can fall short to it. But I think Asad should not do or should not be reliant only on passion. No, I don't think so. Because passion is your present vocabulary of your skills. The moment you get more exposure to things, you discover more.
So, what if it's not necessarily a lazy excuse, but it's the first step you need to take to do what's important?
Perfect. No argument on that. Perfect. Perfect. And I said, you're blessed. ये जिसको मिलता है, they are blessed और मुबारक. मैं थोड़ी कह रहा हूँ कि आप नहीं करें. क्यों नहीं करें? मैंने अपना 15 साल में आपको कह रहा हूँ. That's what I've pursued. मैं वो कुछ काम ही नहीं करता था. काम ही नहीं करता था. मतलब मेरे लिए, if I'll do service, it has to be training. If I do work, it has to be training. It all has to be training. And then I realized, man, मैं दुनिया को सिखा रहा हूँ, go out of your comfort zone. And I'm sitting there only. COVID आया जब, that's a funny story. When COVID came up, I still remember 20th of March, it was such a dull day for me. Because हमारा काम, you understand, it's all people, interaction, crowd, audience.
Yeah.
And I was all clear कि सब बंद हो जाएगा. And you know how much I hate social media. I'm hardly there.
Yeah.
I don't interact. And everything was closing down. And then I had a conversation with myself and I said, listen, let's go to social media. Not for yourself. But there are people out there who are lacking on method. Let's do it for them and then we'll come out of it. So I don't know if you know, but in the first year of COVID, that is 2020, I did a complete conversation series in Ramadan with the name of my renting sessions that I used to do. एंड वो मैं रात 10 से 11 बजे करता था. वो लाइव ऑडियंस 400-500 होती थी. तो मुझे बड़ी खुशी होती थी कि यार चलो गुड, आई एम कनेक्टिंग विद पीपल. बट दैट वाज द फर्स्ट टाइम आई एक्चुअली स्टेप्ड आउट ऑफ माय कंफर्ट जोन. Because social media still doesn't comes to me as a comfort zone. If I'm not comfortable abhi bhi talking to you, these cameras and mics would make me freak out. It would freak me out, right? इसलिए मैं नहीं करता, I'll be honest. But now I'm pushing myself to do it. So now I'm willing to have these conversations with people I can have comfortable conversation with. So I'm giving myself a slow starter, but that's okay. I don't mind doing that. So you're very right. As a good starting point, it's there. But Asad is much more than his passions. Much more than his passions. Passion is your present vocabulary of your skill. You have much more than that. That's how I look at it.
I think there's a lot of unpackage in that itself, right? Like I always was, so somewhere it stuck with me that passion is follow your passion basically means that do what you're ready to struggle for. Wow. But that for me is that's the step. As you asked, do you like everything you do? Of course not, right? I'm also human. But then even the shitty things that you do, you got to put in the work somewhere.
Yes.
I want to step away from this a little bit and actually talk about how can this be applied to people, but not from a... let me rephrase. How did you come to this? Or are there certain frameworks that you still follow on the regular? Not just to check in on yourself, but then also to kind of dictate the next couple of years from now, the next move that you make, the next, service sector that you work with, or the next business deal you strike. Because I'm sure that there's a lot of method also behind how you juggle everything out, how you still stay true to yourself in this process. Ikigai is one framework. Framework bhi nahi hai, wo to basically a self-discovery tool hai. But you know what I mean, right? Like how do you actually put all of this stuff into action?
That's a tough question. And you have to trust me when I say I don't have any framework. But now that you've asked, I'm just thinking about it. I think it would be so much non-motivational when I say this, that I generally don't plan much. May sound very, I don't know, very naive, or I don't plan much. And I think that's what I like about myself. I was in a flight from Islamabad to Karachi, from Karachi to Islamabad. It was old airport, and भोजा एयर का क्रैश हुआ, उससे तकरीबन 2 हफ्ते बाद का फ्लाइट था ये. एंड द प्लेन वॉज नॉट लैंडिंग. वो clouds the, and it was extremely turbulent. Or when you have an air crash itna kareeb mein na, so you have all the kind of not so positive ideas coming to your mind, huh?
Yeah.
That day I loved myself. Do you know why? Because I was not worried.
Huh.
And I think that was a day when I, for the first time, was proud of myself. I was not worried. Because that day, I don't know what it was. I can't put it into words, but I had this comfort. Things are sorted. They'll continue sorting it. I'm there, not there, doesn't matter. But I think this realization is meaningful. So I look at every day as a different day. Having said that, I'll go back to that passion thing. If I have a obsession of passion, और ये था भी, this has always happened to me, और मैं इसलिए कह रहा हूँ कि I've gone through that process at least 14 years or 15 years. If I'm stuck to my definition of passion, and if new opportunity, exciting opportunity, different opportunity, uncomfortable opportunity comes in my way, what I'm going to do? I'm going to evaluate it from my passion lens. I just dropped that lens. At least for last 2-3 years, I've been evaluating things from a lens of how it will make things better, make change happen, solve an interesting problem, and can I bring something to it? Now, when I say, can I bring something to it? It will be of an area of passion, of course. But then what I need to learn for that? Is it an uncomfortable skill? Yes. Is the work critically important? Yes. Let's learn it. So that's what I've been doing. And I think that's important. देखो बाज लोग हैं, they think यार amazing, and I get inspired by people. They are thinking of 5 years down the road, 10 years down the road. I don't have that acumen. And I'm not saying कि वो ऐसा करना गलत है, और मैं भी ये भी नहीं कह रहा कि मैं गलत है. What I'm saying is that I don't have that acumen. मैं generally बहुत आगे का सोच ही नहीं सकता. So for example, if I'm coming here, I'm only thinking about you in this conversation. I'm not thinking about anything else. I can't. Not that I'm not, I can't. So I can't process. And I think that has allowed me pretty much to live in the moment, and that's so much fun. That's so much fun. I enjoy it.
I love how there's like very few questions coming out, but like a lot of depth in all of it. So thank you. I appreciate that. I'm just gonna close this. There's no need for this. But so like now with the times, there's always talk around कि यार पाकिस्तान के हालात बहुत खराब है. IMF deal and the government and so on and so forth. And I can't help but think that at one time, the whole world is kind of screwed right now. So, यहाँ से निकल के कहाँ जाओगे? But at the same time, I also get very pissed off with the state of affairs in this country too, because you're also a citizen. But I want to know your perspective and your thoughts on what is your outlook on the country, on the state of affairs, not necessarily on the state of affairs, but on what change do we need to see versus what change do you feel like is actually going to come about in the next 10, 15, 20 years? I know you don't have that outlook perspective, but it'd be interesting to hear your thoughts on this.
I would like to think about things 5 years, 10 years down the road for others. I don't think for myself. Others, yes, I'll have all the expert opinions.
On a side note, do you separate yourself from your business also with this way of thinking? Like this is more of, you're restricted when it comes to your personal self, but for the business you can have that outlook?
I was messed up with that, and so I've hired a separate team to do it for me.
Okay.
I don't do it because I don't have I have some other disabilities. I can't think competitively. And that's a bad skill to have.
Yeah.
It's a relaxing thing to have, trust me, but on business side, it's not a cool thing to have.
Yeah.
So, one of our mutual acquaintance, Farhad, so वो मेरी ऑफिस में कभी कोई आके दिखाएगा, हे बॉस ये देखें फरहाद ने ये किया. मैं कहा यार वंडरफुल, कितना मस्त किया होगा. एंड आई रियलाइज कि वो बेचारे बड़े पिस्ड ऑफ हो जाते हैं कि यार अजीब आदमी है. बट why would I get what he should get? That question is so liberating. Why should I get what he should get?
Yeah.
Why? I mean, इसमें मतलब मैं क्यों अपना दिमाग इतना खर्च करूं? But now let's come to this thing, पाकिस्तान वाला जो तुमने बोला. So I think you are now putting me into troubled area. I think I've not lost my hope, and I'll explain this. I think there are few fundamental errors. अभी तुमने जो सवाल पूछा ना उसमें से भी I can pick few questions, few words. Change.
Yeah.
हमें बेचा गया change. साउथ एशिया का एक प्रॉब्लम है. वी आर ऑलवेज लुकिंग फॉर अ मसीहा.
Yeah.
यू नो, कोई आएगा जो सब कुछ सही कर देगा. कैसे? हाउ? कौन करेगा? आई थिंक एक तो तुमने जो बात कही, द वर्ल्ड इटसेल्फ इज नाउ इन अ डीप ट्रबल. इन्फ्लेशन, डिप्रेशन, इट वाज ऑल एक्सपेक्टेड. अगर आप चीज़ें देख रहे हो 2019 में इट वाज एक्सपेक्टेड. COVID delayed it.
Yeah. The bust was gonna happen.
Yeah, so it was designed to happen. I think पाकिस्तान में हालात इससे भी ज़्यादा बुरे हो सकते थे अगर हमारी एग्रीकल्चर इकोनॉमी नहीं होती. It would have been worst. People would have been in some real trouble. So I think, and honestly, I don't identify myself with a country or something like that, but I personally believe the world is never going to get short of the need of generous work, need for creative work. ChatGPT अभी आजकल बड़ा कूल चल रहा है ना, तो लोगों को लग रहा है कि AI के बाद तो असद का काम ही नहीं है. रोबोट बैठ के, क्योंकि उसको सोहेल का सारा शजरा नस पता होगा, तो वो सोहेल से इंटरव्यू ले लेगा. I beg to differ. Honestly, I think world will never get short of generous work. We'll need that. Pakistan, I really wish the best for, of course, it's my country now, so I wish the best for it. But yeah, those who are listening, you find another country of opportunity, go give your best to that. But if you are here, काश मैं चला जाऊं is not the right way of living. I think that's tiring way of living. जा सकते हो, bye, do your best, love you. नहीं जा सकते, डू योर बेस्ट. डू योर बेस्ट. तुम शोज करते रहो ना, प्रोड्यूस कंटेंट फॉर ग्लोबल ऑडियंस. कल आई मेट दिस वंडरफुल एक्स कोलीग ऑफ माइन, शी इज़ डूइंग अमेजिंग वर्क. अमेजॉन का वो जो कंसल्टिंग और सारा वो, शी इज़ डूइंग सच अ गुड वर्क. मुझे समझ ही नहीं आता. एक मेरा और दोस्त है, कोलीग है, वो NFTs में पता नहीं क्या कर रहा है. फिर वो मेरे को समझाता है, बॉस आपकी जो है ना वो, उसको क्या है वो डिजिटल स्पेस क्या होती है आपका, ये मेटावर्स. मेरे को पूछ रहा है मेटावर्स में आपकी कोई प्रॉपर्टी है. मैं कहा मेरी डिफेंस में प्रॉपर्टी है, मेटावर्स में नहीं है. मुझे आई कुड नॉट कॉम्प्रीहेंड. अब वो मुझे बता के चला गया. मैंने उसको बोला वी नीड टू सिट डाउन फॉर दैट. पहले आई वुड नॉट गिव अ शिट अबाउट इट, बट नाउ आई वांट टू लर्न इट बिकॉज आई नो माय चिल्ड्रन विल हैव दिस वोकैबुलरी एंड आई नीड टू टॉक टू देम, राइट? सो आई थिंक, तो वो मुझे कल माय कलीग शी केम अप एंड उससे बात कर रहे थे, तो मुझे कहती है बॉस पाकिस्तान में आप रह रहे हो और डॉलर में कमा रहे हो, दुनिया में इससे अच्छा मुल्क हो सकता है? मैंने कहा नहीं. सो थिंक क्रिएटिवली, फाइंड आउट न्यू एवेन्यूज. और मैं भी ये कर रहा हूँ. आई एम ऑल्सो डूइंग दैट. इफ यू आर नॉट अर्निंग इन डॉलर्स, यू आर नॉट अर्निंग. सो यार आई थिंक तुम और मैं आज ये बात कर रहे हैं पाकिस्तान के बारे में. तुम एक काम करो, आज से 25 साल पुराना कोई मोइन अख्तर, अनवर मकसूद का कॉन्वर्जेशन निकाल लो, वो भी यही बात कर रहे थे. उस वक्त भी लग रहा था रहेगा नहीं रहेगा. ओ भाई यहाँ पे कुछ अजीब चीज़ है, ये रहेगा. इट्स नॉट गोइंग एनीवेयर. थिंग्स विल बी fine. Not when I say fine, it doesn't mean fine. It will not become Finland. It will not become Canada. It will continue with the same fabric that it is. You know that Pakistan cricket team है. अभी जो लास्ट वर्ल्ड कप में खेली, आई वाज सो प्राउड ऑफ दैट. बट तुम मुझे पाकिस्तान क्रिकेट टीम याद करके बताओ, तुम्हें लगता है पाकिस्तान क्रिकेट टीम स्ट्रैटेजी से जीतती है? वो दुआओं से जीतती है. और ये कॉन्टेक्स्ट पाकिस्तान के लिए भी वैलिड है. अब मुझसे कोई स्ट्रैटेजी पूछे, समवन लिसनर माइट थिंक क्या स्टूपिड बात है ये दुआ. भाई तुम कोई स्ट्रैटेजी बता दे. आई थिंक We'll continue doing this. I think Asad, Sohail, Ahmed, uh, all these amazing people out there, we all should look out to do work where we make things better, where we earn well. कमाओ. ये हमारे एक तो ये जो यहाँ सूडो रिलीजियस लोग हैं ना, वो अभी देखे पैसा मोह माया, यार तू मुझे देते. I think money is a fantastic thing in pocket. It's an ugly thing in brain.
Yeah.
So आप यहाँ कमा रहे हैं, अच्छा है, कमाएं, enjoy करें. आप बाहर जा सकते हैं.
But what do you think the country needs though to kind of get out of this situation also?
I'm not an expert to that, to be honest. मैं क्यों उस पर अपनी राय शुमारी करूँ? हमारे यहाँ तो ट्विटर पे मैंने देखा हर बंदा हर चीज़ का एक्सपर्ट होता है. आई हैव नो क्लू अबाउट इट. मेरे को इकोनॉमिक्स आता नहीं है, मैं क्या मशवरे दूँ? बट ऑनेस्टली मुझे एक चीज़ समझ आती है, कंसिस्टेंसी का मैजिक है. यू सी, आई थिंक कंसिस्टेंसी इज मोर इम्पॉर्टेंट देन ऑथेंटिसिटी एंड इंटेंसिटी. You brush your teeth daily. You don't brush your teeth 14 minutes on Sunday. You do it twice a day, 1 minute every day.
Yeah.
That's what is needed. You don't do 14 minutes on Sunday to cover it up. That's a stupid way of living. You go to gym first day. I don't know. I mean, if you go to gym, I've never been to gym. बट इफ़ यू गो टू जिम, मैंने वहाँ देखा है वो बाज़, क्योंकि मैं होटल्स में रुकता हूँ तो मैं फिर क्या करता हूँ, जिम में जाकर मैं लोगों को देखता हूँ और वहाँ बैठ के मैं कुछ चिप्स खाते हुए टीवी देखता हूँ. बहुत मज़ा आता है मुझे उसमें. सो मैं अक्सर लोगों को देखता हूँ आके वो मिरर में चेक कर रहे होते हैं कि कितना मतलब आज इंप्रूवमेंट है. मेरे को पता चल जाता है ये इडियट आज पहले दिन आया है. बिकॉज साइंटिफिकली स्पीकिंग पहले दिन जिम में आके क्या फ़र्क पड़ना है बॉडी को, पर जिसको फ़र्क पड़ता है कैसे पड़ता है? कंसिस्टेंसी से. अच्छा, लेकिन कंसिस्टेंसी में एक प्रॉब्लम है. Problem with consistency is that now if you have your body in the right ideal shape, what does it mean? छोड़ दो? नहीं. Once you get into the consistency, hustle, keep going. Right? Yeah. So I think consistency is, मेरा बहुत अदना सा ख्याल है. I'm not an expert. मुझे economics नहीं आता, मुझे geopolitics का कोई समझ नहीं है. I think we need consistency. We have never got consistency. तुम 47 से देख के आ जाओ. उनको कांग्रेस मिला था, हमें मुस्लिम लीग मिली थी. मुस्लिम लीग के 10-15 साल थे, कांग्रेस के 100 साल थे. नेहरू 16 साल रहा, हमारा जिन्ना पहले साल. हमारे पास कंसिस्टेंसी नहीं है. फिर हम ढूंढते रहते हैं कायदे आजम कैसे मरे, क्या साजिश थी, हमने पता नहीं क्या नॉनसेंस पाल के रखा है. कंसिस्टेंसी, आई पर्सनली थिंक वी नीड कंसिस्टेंसी.
On that note of consistency, but that's also for the nation right now, I want to know a little bit about if you go on a micro level with all of the mentorship sessions that you may have done in the past, recently, of course, I'm sure you notice this particular trend, right, with young individuals, whether they're trying to grow in their current careers or whether they're trying to become better at something they do, or they're trying to start off or develop an idea that they have. What do you feel like is that young folks really need to hear, or what tool rather would you actually pass on that could maybe tweak their framing of their mind and get them to kickstart or get them to the next level?
Empathy. And let me elaborate on this. I think empathy has been the most overused and misunderstood term in our conversation. I think entrepreneurs today needs empathy more than anything. But what do I mean by empathy? Empathy means that I don't see what you see. I don't hear what you hear. I don't believe what you believe. I don't feel what you feel, and that's okay. That's okay. I try a new product. It didn't work. How am I channeling my mind? Log idiot hai. They don't need it. Asan, let's build that. They don't need it. You think it's important. You think it's worthwhile. You think it's amazing. But they just didn't like it. Khatam ho gayi baat, right? And I think that's very important. अच्छा, अब इसका again मैं क्या कह रहा हूँ, trend follow करें? नहीं. Dig deeper then. Show up consistently. But also learn the art of quitting. And here is another interesting mantra. Quitting is not for losers. Quitting is for really smart people. Simple. Quitting is not for ये बस ये मोटिवेशनल स्पीकर्स नॉनसेंस है. क्विटिंग इज फॉर लूज. काय का क्विटिंग इज फॉर लूजर्स? आपके स्टॉक मार्केट में शेयर खराब होने वाले हैं. बेस्ट थिंग इज टू क्विट. Quitting is for smart people. Quitting is for quick decision makers. But problem is, when are you quitting? You are quitting when things are just about to go down, or you are quitting where you have tried enough, where you have showed up enough. That's a decision. I think ये जो पूरी generation है ना, not that I'm for or against any, I think all generations are amazing, as I believe all age brackets are amazing. You know, हमको लगता है बुढ़ापा is a problem, mid age is a problem, youth is a problem, teen is a problem, infancy is a problem. I think only death is the solution. Wrong idea. So no generation is also wrong. A wonderful generation, we all have our own strengths. But I think ये जो video game generation है ना, इसमें एक बड़ा मसला है. यार हम लोग, अच्छा मैं ज़्यादा क्रिकेट, मैं स्पोर्ट्स बहुत कम खेला हूँ. मेरे को बिकॉज आई एम एसेंशियली नॉट अ टीम प्लेयर. ठीक है, आई एम नॉट अ टीम प्लेयर. मेरे को समझ ही नहीं आता था कि वो इतना दूर शॉट मार रहा है, मैं क्यों लेने जाऊँ, उसका नौकर हूँ क्या? मैं नहीं जाता था. मैं एम्पायरिंग करता था. आई वॉज द ओनली गाय हु यूज्ड टू डू एम्पायरिंग विद फॉर्मल शूज़. मेरे को नहीं मेहनत होता था, मेरे को अच्छा लगता था कंट्रोल मेरे पास आउट करने का. बट उसमें क्या होता था, आई यूज्ड टू सी, कोई हर्ट हो गया ना, वो 4-5 दिन उसको बेचारे को बैठ के मैच देखना पड़ता था, वो खेल नहीं सकता था. है अभी क्या होता है, मैं बच्चों को देखता हूँ खेल रहे हैं, जहाँ हारने लगते ना रीस्टार्ट कर लेते हैं. लाइफ डज नॉट ऑफर्स रीस्टार्ट बटन यार. दैट्स अ सैड स्टोरी. सो आई थिंक क्विटिंग इज नॉट बैड. क्विटिंग इज कूल. क्विटिंग इज स्मार्ट. हैव यू गिवन योर बेस्ट टू इट? हैव यू शोड अप कंसिस्टेंटली इनफ टू इट? राइट. ये जितने पॉडकास्टर्स हैं, सक्सेसफुल पॉडकास्टर्स, गो बैक टू देयर फर्स्ट फ्यू वीडियोस. कितने व्यूज़ थे और कितने व्यूज़ उनके. आई एम श्योर तुम तो इस डोमेन ऑफ वर्क को समझते हो. वो जब 40, 50, 60, 100, 200 वीडियोस के बाद वो कोई एक सर्टेन लेवल पे आ गया और उसमें वो अपनी पहली वीडियो का जिक्र कर रहा है, तो लोग जाके देख रहे हैं, उस चक्कर में उसके व्यूज़ बढ़ रहे होंगे. बट वो कहाँ थे व्यूज़? राइट. आपदा परवीन की वीडियो पे जितना व्यू आता है, यकीन करो ताहिर शाह ने जो आई टू आई और एंजल जैसे हिस्टोरिक सॉन्ग्स बनाए थे, उसके व्यूज़ ज़्यादा थे. तो अब तुम क्या कहोगे कि आपदा परवीन का वर्क इज़ नॉट एज इम्पॉर्टेंट एज ताहिर शाह का वर्क? राइट. शो अप कंसिस्टेंटली, बिकॉज आपदा परवीन वॉज नेवर शोइंग अप फॉर यूट्यूब. She was never showing up for that. That medium came up, and now I think everything is around that medium. That's a deluded idea. So I think showing up consistently, doing it consistently, because consistency, as I again say, it's magical. It's anything. मुझे पॉडकास्ट करने का बड़ा शौक हुआ ना. मैंने कहा यार अब सोहेल भाई का भी अपना एक शो होगा और उसमें मैं जो है ना अपनी इंटेलेक्चुअल बातें करूँगा. So I was talking to one of my mentors. उसको मैंने कहा ये, तो उसने कहा क्यों नहीं कर रहा है? मैं कहा यार वो बात नहीं आ रही मुझे. उसने कहा अच्छा 2-4 दिखा किसमें बात नहीं आ रही. मैं कहा नहीं, मैंने तो शूट ही नहीं किया है. So there are a lot of people, they say we can't write well. उनको बोलो अपनी गंदी राइटिंग दिखाए. है ही नहीं उनके पास, है ही नहीं. So we don't have our not so best work. Because we don't have our not so best work, we don't ever reach to anything close to best work. राइट. सो आई थिंक शोइंग अप, कंसिस्टेंसी, और ये खास तौर पे अभी जो आज मुझे एक आइडिया आया और कल मैंने कंपनी बनाई, क्योंकि अब तो कंपनी बनाने में कितना टाइम लगता है, कार्ड पे लिखना ही है खाली असद और सीईओ हो गया. सीईओ भाई आपका एंटरप्रेन्योर चल रहा है. मेरे ख्याल से ये स्टार्टअप्स का नाम होना चाहिए ग्लोरीफाइड जॉबलेस. अरे काय का तुम स्टार्टअप है, तुम्हें अभी आइडिया आया है, यू हैव नॉट डन मार्केट रिसर्च, यू हैव नो क्लू. वो अभी एक बंदा मेरे पास आया, मुझे सोहेल भाई लगता है कि बच्चों के जो प्रोडक्ट्स हैं ना, इसका डिलीवरी का कोई मैकेनिज्म नहीं है. आपको क्या लगता है इसकी कंपनी मेरे को बनानी चाहिए? मैं इसको क्या बोलूँ कि यार भाई मिल रहा है ना दराज पे. अब तुम देखो सारी एंटरप्रेन्योरशिप, वो उसको आज मुझे थोड़े दिन पहले किसी ने टर्म सिखाया था कि इट्स ऊबराइज्ड. यहाँ से यहाँ पहुँचाना, सारा टेक्नोलॉजी इसी पे चल रहा है. तो मतलब मुझे आप ये बता रहे हैं कि आज दुनिया में कोई भी ब्रेक थ्रू होगा और उसमें टेक्नोलॉजी नहीं है तो ब्रेक थ्रू नहीं. आई डोंट बिलीव दिस. टेक्नोलॉजी इज जस्ट ए स्केलिंग प्लेटफॉर्म. इट हेल्प्स यू स्केल. व्हाट्स योर आइडिया? बट we don't invest, और ये इस generation का issue है, we don't invest our time consistently over an idea for a longer period of time, and because of that I think a lot of amazing ideas die. तुम अक्सर जबरदस्त लोगों से मिलोगे और बता रहे होंगे ना, यार ये आइडिया जो है ना, ये मेरे को 2016 में आया था. अच्छा तूने उसका क्या किया? नहीं किया कुछ नहीं. देन शट अप, वो तुम्हारा आइडिया था ही नहीं. दैट्स हाउ इट इज. बिकॉज मुझे आइडिया आया एंड आई हैव नॉट डन एनीथिंग अबाउट इट. हु द हेल एम आई टू टॉक अबाउट इट? ये इसका आइडिया है, इसने काम किया. ही शोड अप, he was more generous, he took more risk, he showed up more consistently. He should win.
So to summarize it, basically I would say then it's empathy, consistency and action is what people need.
Absolutely. Showing up. I think this word, I love it. Showing up. Show up. You want to help people, show up. Show up. It's very important. Very important.
Okay, so this is so, like, I love this conversation because I'll elaborate why in a second, but in the interest of time, I also don't want to take up too much of your time. If you could go back in time and meet your younger self, what would you say to him?
यार ये जो है ना, ये अभी थोड़े दिन पहले ही मैं सोच रहा था कि अगर मुझे मौका मिल जाए ना वापस से करियर शुरू करने का, I would be more willing to learn new things. I think I wasted a lot of time. A lot of
You were resistant towards that?
Yes. I was so obsessed with the idea of passion. I was so obsessed with the idea कि अगर मैं ये अच्छा कर सकता हूँ तो बस मैं यही करता रहूँगा. And I think I said no to so many learning opportunities, and I'm ashamed of that. But now that I have been ashamed of that, I have forgiven myself and I'm now doing it. So it's very important to forgive yourself. But if I get to start it all over again, I think I want to be more open to learn new things, which I have not been, and I don't shy away from confessing it. I think my wife has been a great inspiration. वो मेरे को हमेशा सुनाती रहती है, बट मैं वही ढीठ, क्योंकि एक तो हम सेलिब्रिटी लाइफस्टाइल आ जाता है ना ट्रेनिंग. अब मैं उसको कह रहा हूँ यार दुनिया कह रही है भाई सोहेल परफेक्ट है और तुम कह रही है बेकार है, यार ये क्या बात कर दी. But I think that's a regret. I think that's a regret. I've not showed up to learn, and I feel bad about it. But I've forgiven myself, and I'm learning it now. I'll be honest about it.
Very interesting. I think that's also a first. That's the first, right? Every time this is a question I ask every guest, and then Hanan and I look at each other and see, "Suna hai humne pehle ya nahi suna?" This is, I think, a first. No, sir, thank you so much for your time.
My pleasure.
This was amazing. I think that for the first time in a long time, I've had a conversation in which I feel like a lot of different ideas have been unpacked. I didn't have to follow the questions. And a lot of food for thought, I would say. It's great to see, and this is something that I've always admired about you, is that you have this ability of very simply and very candidly, you express your point of view and why you believe something is and is not, but you leave it open for others to interpret. And that's actually very admirable. So thank you for that.
And I think one of the closing message from my side, just based on this remark, which I'm grateful that you said that, is that I think two of the things we should always have. We should have our opinion, and we should be willing to understand that it may be wrong. Yeah. This makes life beautiful. I don't know अभी तुम्हारे पास इस पॉडकास्ट का टाइम है. मेरी टीचर थी मिस नौशीन, स्कूल में इंग्लिश लिटरेचर पढ़ाती थी. मुझे बिल्कुल नहीं समझ आता था, बट शी वॉज एन अमेजिंग टीचर. शी वॉज ब्रिलियंट. तो वो कुछ पढ़ा रही थी, पता नहीं क्या, पता नहीं टॉम सॉयर था, हकलबेरी फिन, पता नहीं क्या था. It was class 6th or 7th, that I also don't remember. I was sitting with my friend Sadiq, and उसने ऐसे ही सवाल पूछा, yes you. अच्छा, अब वो होती है ना situation, there is situation where you don't know the answer, but then there are situation where you have no clue what's happening. Yeah. I was in that state. So she said yes, and I was almost there with a heart attack. And then she said, yes you, Sadiq. And I was like, okay. Now you know teacher's technique. अगर एक सवाल लड़के से तो दूसरा सवाल लड़की से. If one question is from this side, the other question is from this side. So one Sadiq से पूछ लिया, I was so damn sure कि अब मेरा तो बारी नहीं आएगा.
You got another round of Russian roulette.
Right? So I was all relaxed. So I said, okay, think about something else. He answered something, I don't know. And once he was done, Miss Nausheen said, yes, Sohail.
Oh shit.
And I was like, oh shit. But that was a silent oh shit. I stood up and with all my confidence, I said, Miss, I was saying the same thing. And generally, I get away with this. Generally, most students get away with it. Even teachers know that this rascal is lying, but generally, they also let it go because they don't have time. It's a 40-minute class here. So I said, Miss, I was saying the same thing. She said, exactly the same thing. So I said, yeah. She insisted. Word to word the same thing. And now मुझे ना थोड़ी देर के लिए हुआ यार ये इतना क्यों वो कर रही है. I was thinking पता नहीं सादिक ने कोई बकवास तो नहीं की है. So मैंने कहा yeah. She said wonderful बेटा, then you must die. This is class 6 था mind you. ये कोई philosophy की class नहीं चल रही है. Then you must die. मैं कहा why? मुझे कहती है देखो ना सादिक बिल्कुल तुम्हारी तरह सोच रहा है. Why are you wasting your time on earth? And that changed me for life.
Wow.
At least यार ओपिनियन तो आपका अपना हो. बाकी खैर है वो गलत हो सकता है बट ओपिनियन आपका होना चाहिए. एंड आई थिंक दैट्स इंपॉर्टेंट. पाकिस्तान एग्रीकल्चरल कंट्री है, यहाँ सब अग्री करते हैं. दैट शुड नॉट हैपन. वी शुड हैव आवर ओपिनियन. So thank you for having me.
No, and one point that I will add in, but I feel like it's also very important to acknowledge also and to remember is that it's not always important for you to plaster your opinion everywhere.
Yes.
Right? Like,
To agree that this is wrong.
yeah.
Yeah, I learned that. ना important है. और क्योंकि देखो असद तुम्हारा ओपिनियन बनेगा किससे? तुम्हारा ओपिनियन बनेगा उन पर्सपेक्टिव से जिसके साथ तुम अभी ओपन हो ना. There are thousands of things you know. मैं अभी भी लोगों को समझाता हूँ कि सूरज के गिर्द अर्थ घूम रहा है. इस बात को कम साल हुए हैं एज कंपेयर टू अर्थ के गिर्द सूरज घूम रहा था. हिस्टोरिकली तुम देखो ये डिस्कवरी जब ह्यूमन ने की कि नहीं जी वो सन नहीं घूम रहा अर्थ घूम रहा है, इसको कम साल हुए हैं एज कंपेयर टू जितने साल से सन घूम रहा था. तो वो उस वक्त बिल्कुल सच था अंटिल वी न्यू अ बेटर ट्रूथ. आई एम जस्ट सेइंग बेटर ट्रूथ. अभी कुछ और पता चल सकता है. यू नेवर नो.
Sir, once again, thank you for your time.
My pleasure.
This was great. I absolutely loved it. Sohail Zindani, all of his details will be somewhere in the description as well. If you like this one, keep listening, keep staying online, in tune, and up to date with Behind the Grind. I made it a mission. 2023 is going to be the year of consistency when it comes to this. I was showing up in the past. I'm just trying to show up a little bit more now. And yeah, changing things up as well in terms of the format, the branding, the way content is being distributed on the different platforms as well. So yeah, thank you all for listening. Till the next one. Peace out. Bye-bye.